Hello, my name's Alize, and I want you to imagine a time where women didn't have control over their reproduction. A time where infertile women, queer couples, or even single parents had difficulty starting families of their own. Believe it or not, a man in 1903 was able to catapult us out of this time of uncertainty and shed light on human reproduction. This man was Gregory Goodwin Pincus. But who exactly was Pincus, and how exactly did he make these strides with reproduction enlightenment? Alia Buttar wrote in her article, The Embryo Encyclopedia, that in 1924, Pincus received a bachelor's degree in Cornell University, and in 1927, he received his master's and PhD from Harvard University. This is a very impressive educational background. And later on, in 1931, he was appointed assistant professor of biology at Harvard University. Gerard Bettendorf discussed Pincus's time at Harvard in his book on the history of endocrinology and reproductive medicine. He says during his time at Harvard, he perfected some of the earliest methods of transplanting animal eggs from one female to another female, who would then carry this embryo to full term. And about 6 years later, he had lost his tenure due to the negative publicity related to his experimentation on rabbits. Unfortunately, he was ahead of his time and was depicted as a villain in the New York Times because he was thought to be playing God. Even though he was villainized, he inspired the embryologists such as John Rock to continue and elevate his research and eventually being able to develop an in vitro fertilization technique that we can use in humans, and it's still used today in practice. Although his groundwork with in vitro fertilization was an amazing accomplishment, it is often overshadowed by his development of the birth control pill. In the biography of Gregory Goodwin, written by Judith Bauman, they discussed some of the collaborations Pincus developed with Min-Chu Chang and others in 1951. And colleague Min-Chu Chang began studies on the effect of progesterone in rabbits. They found that progesterone actually halts ovulation in mammals. During this time, Margaret Sanger, a nurse who had dreamt of this concept of hormonal birth control decades prior, approached Pincus about the possibility of creating this technology at a dinner party. There was an overpopulation issue, and the existing birth control method was inadequate. So they went to Catherine McCormick in 1953 and pitched the idea, and she ended up backing them up with $40,000 in funding. Because of laws about contraception at the time, they had to disguise their contraception trials as fertility research. They began the first trials on humans in Massachusetts on 50 women, and the results were conclusive that not one woman ovulated during this trial. On a later date, on a larger scale trial, this was done in Puerto Rico in 1956 with the same results. Trials were mostly done on impoverished women, but all trials were successful. On May 9th, 1960, the FDA approved this pill, and by 1963, 2.3 million women were using this pill. But unfortunately, according to the article in the pill posted on the PBS website, Goodwin died in August 1967 at the age of 65 due to a rare bone marrow disease, which some speculate was caused by his work with organic solvents, often used in his research. He left behind a legacy for generations to come. Through his extensive research, his work in collaboration with others, this was the basis of the creation of the hormonal birth control pill. Pincus was able to set the bar so high for the contraception for years to come, giving women control over their reproduction health. He also gave families a chance with his groundwork with in vitro fertilization.